Title: The Masquerade. Ellie Parker had always been the kind of person who cared deeply about what others thought of her. At 21, she was a junior at Crestwood University, majoring in journalism with dreams of becoming a renowned writer. But beneath her confident exterior was a girl plagued by insecurity, constantly wondering if her classmates liked her or if they were secretly talking behind her back. Ellie's obsession with her reputation began in high school, where she had been the target of relentless gossip. She had thought college would be different, a fresh start where she could reinvent herself. And for a while it was. She made friends, joined clubs, and even landed a spot on the university newspaper. But the old fears never really went away. One night, after a particularly stressful day, Ellie found herself scrolling through social media, comparing her life to the seemingly perfect ones of her classmates. That's when she had the idea, an idea that would spiral out of control and change everything. The creation of Lila. Ellie decided to create a fake social media profile. She called herself Lila Matthews, a transfer student from a small town in Oregon. She carefully curated Lila's profile, choosing photos of a girl she found online who looked nothing like her. Lila was bubbly, outgoing, and effortlessly cool. Everything Ellie wished she could be. At first, Ellie used the account to lurk on her classmates' profiles, reading their posts and comments. But it wasn't enough. She wanted to know what they were saying about her when she wasn't around. So she started adding people, her friends, her classmates, even her professors. To her surprise, they accepted Lila's friend requests without question. Ellie began engaging with them, commenting on their posts and joining group chats. She was careful to keep Lila's interactions light and friendly, never drawing too much attention to herself. But her real goal was to steer conversations toward herself, to find out what people really thought of Ellie Parker. The first revelation. It didn't take long for Ellie to get her first glimpse into the private conversations of her classmates. In a group chat with some of her closest friends, Lila casually brought up Ellie's name. "Oh, Ellie's in my journalism class," Lila typed. "She seems cool. What's she like?" The responses were mixed. "Ellie's nice, but she can be kind of intense," one friend replied. "Yeah, she's always trying so hard to be perfect," another added. "It's kind of exhausting." Ellie's heart sank as she read the messages. She had always suspected that her friends found her annoying, but seeing it in writing was a different kind of pain. She wanted to log off, to delete the account and pretend it never happened. But she couldn't stop herself. She needed to know more. The trap. As the weeks went on, Ellie became more and more consumed by her alter ego. She spent hours crafting Lila's persona, making sure every post and comment was perfect. She even started messaging people privately, pretending to be interested in their lives while subtly probing for information about herself. But the more Ellie learned, the more paranoid she became. She discovered that her roommate, Jess, had been complaining about her messy habits in a private chat with their mutual friends. She found out that her crush, Ryan, had referred to her as that girl who's always trying too hard in a text to his best friend. And worst of all, she stumbled upon a conversation in which her classmates speculated that she had only gotten her position at the university newspaper because she was sleeping with the editor. Ellie felt like her world was crumbling. She had always prided herself on being kind, hardworking, and genuine. But according to her classmates, she was nothing more than a tryhard with a fake smile. The unraveling. One night, Ellie made a mistake. In a group chat with some of her classmates, Lila made a comment that was a little too specific, a little too personal. It was about a project Ellie had been working on for the newspaper. A project she hadn't told anyone about except her editor. "Wait, how do you know about that?" one of her classmates asked. Ellie panicked. She tried to backtrack, saying she must have heard about it from someone else, but the damage was done. Her classmates started asking questions, and Ellie realized she was in danger of being exposed. She logged off and spent the rest of the night pacing her dorm room, trying to figure out what to do. She thought about deleting the account, but she knew it was too late. The seeds of suspicion had been planted, and it was only a matter of time before someone figured out the truth. The exposure. The next day, Ellie's worst fears came true. She walked into her journalism class to find her classmates huddled together, whispering furiously. As she approached, they fell silent, their eyes darting away. What's going on? Ellie asked, trying to sound casual. One of her classmates, a girl named Megan, stepped forward. Ellie, we need to talk. We know about Lila. Ellie's heart stopped. What are you talking about? Megan held up her phone, showing Ellie a screenshot of a conversation between Lila and one of their classmates. We did some digging, and it turns out Lila Matthews doesn't exist. The photos you used are of some random girl from Oregon. So we're asking you, why did you create a fake profile to spy on us? Ellie felt like the walls were closing in. She wanted to deny it, to come up with some excuse, but she knew it was pointless. The truth was out, and there was no going back. The confession. Ellie took a deep breath and decided to come clean. I didn't mean for it to go this far, she said, her voice trembling. I just wanted to know what people were saying about me. I've always been so insecure, and I thought if I could just see what people really thought, I could fix it. But it got out of hand. Her classmates stared at her, their expressions a mix of anger, confusion, and pity. Ellie, this is messed up, Megan said. You violated our trust. How are we supposed to trust you now? Ellie felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes. I know. I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt anyone. I didn't know how to deal with my own insecurities. The fallout was swift and brutal. Ellie's classmates distanced themselves from her, and rumors about her deception spread like wildfire across campus. She was kicked out of the group chat, unfriended on social media, and even ostracized by some of her closest friends. Her roommate, Jess, moved out, leaving Ellie alone in their dorm. Her editor at the newspaper confronted her, questioning her integrity and threatening to remove her from the team. And her crush, Ryan, avoided her altogether, unable to look her in the eye. Ellie felt like she had hit rock bottom. She had wanted to know the truth, but now that she had it, she wished she could go back to being ignorant. The weight of her actions was crushing, and she didn't know how to move forward. The redemption. In the weeks that followed, Ellie threw herself into therapy, determined to confront the insecurities that had led her down such a destructive path. She apologized to her classmates, not expecting forgiveness but hoping to at least make amends. To her surprise, some of them were willing to give her a second chance. What you did was wrong, Megan told her, but I can see that you're trying to change. And that counts for something. Ellie also began writing again, this time for herself. She started a blog about her experiences, using her real name and owning up to her mistakes. The blog resonated with people, and Ellie found herself connecting with others who had struggled with similar issues. The new beginning. As she stood on the stage at a campus event, reading an essay she had written about self-acceptance and growth, Ellie felt a sense of peace. The road had been long and painful, but it had led her here, to a place where she could be honest about who she was, flaws and all. The masquerade was over. And in revealing her truth, Ellie had found her voice. The end. Title: The Whispering Envelope. In the fog-drenched town of Blackthorn Hollow, where the streets were lined with cobblestones and the air was thick with the scent of pine and mystery, 24-year-old Eleanor Ellie Grayson lived a quiet life. She worked as a librarian at the town's ancient, ivy-covered library, spending her days surrounded by dusty tomes and whispered legends. Ellie was a solitary soul, content with her books and her cat, but her life was about to take a turn into the unknown. One crisp autumn morning, as Ellie unlocked the library's heavy wooden doors, she noticed an envelope lying on the steps. It was plain, with no return address, but her name was written on the front in elegant, looping script. Curious, she picked it up and slipped it into her bag, intending to open it later. When she finally did, the contents would unravel her world. The letter. The letter was written on thick, cream-colored paper, the ink a deep, rich black. It began with a single sentence that sent a chill down Ellie's spine. You are not who you think you are. The letter went on to reveal secrets, deep personal secrets, about Ellie's life. It spoke of her childhood, her family, and even her innermost thoughts. It mentioned the locket she had lost when she was 7, the one her mother had given her before she disappeared. It described the recurring dream Ellie had about a woman in a red dress standing in the woods, a dream she had never told anyone about. But the most shocking revelation was this: your mother did not abandon you. She was taken. And the truth lies buried in the hollow of the old oak tree. Ellie's hands trembled as she read the words. How could anyone know these things? And who had sent the letter? The investigation begins. Determined to uncover the truth, Ellie began to investigate. She started by visiting the old oak tree mentioned in the letter, a gnarled, ancient tree that stood at the edge of the Blackthorn woods. Beneath its roots, she found a small, rusted box. Inside was a photograph of her mother, a woman named Margaret Grayson, standing with a man Ellie didn't recognize. On the back of the photo was a date, October 31st, 1998, the year Ellie was born. Ellie's heart raced as she studied the photo. Who was the man? And why had her mother been with him? She took the photo to the library, hoping to find answers in the town's archives. As she pored over old newspapers and records, Ellie discovered that her mother had been involved in a scandal. Margaret had been accused of stealing a valuable artifact from the town's museum, a silver locket said to hold mystical powers. The locket had never been found, and Margaret had disappeared shortly after the accusations were made. Ellie's mind reeled. Could her mother have been framed? And if so, by whom? The second letter. A few days later, another envelope appeared on the library steps. This one contained a single sentence. The locket holds the key to your past. Find it before they do. Ellie felt a mix of fear and determination. She needed to find the locket, but she had no idea where to start. The letter's warning, before they do, suggested that someone else was searching for it too. Her investigation led her to the town's museum, where she met the curator, a reclusive man named Victor Blackthorn. Victor was the last surviving member of the Blackthorn family, the founders of the town. He was tall and gaunt, with piercing blue eyes that seemed to see right through her. The locket, Victor said when Ellie showed him the photograph. It's been missing for over 2 decades. Many have searched for it, but none have succeeded. Ellie sensed that Victor knew more than he was letting on. Do you think my mother took it? She asked. Victor hesitated, then shook his head. No. I believe she was trying to protect it. The locket is said to hold a great power, one that could change the course of history. The third letter. The third letter arrived a week later, this time slipped under Ellie's front door. It contained a map of the Blackthorn woods, with a specific location marked in red ink. The note read, "The locket is hidden where the shadows converge. But beware, the woods are not what they seem." Ellie knew she had to go. She packed a bag with supplies and set out for the woods, her heart pounding with a mix of fear and excitement. The woods were dense and dark, the trees towering overhead like silent sentinels. As she followed the map, she felt as though she were being watched. Finally, she reached the marked location, a clearing with a small, crumbling stone altar. At its base was a hidden compartment, and inside was the locket. It was beautiful, intricately designed with swirling patterns and a single blood-red gem at its center. As Ellie held it, she felt a strange warmth spread through her body. But before she could examine it further, she heard a rustling in the trees. The confrontation. Out of the shadows stepped Victor Blackthorn, his eyes gleaming with a mixture of triumph and malice. "I knew you'd find it," he said, his voice cold. "You have your mother's determination." Ellie's heart raced. You've been following me?" Victor nodded. "I've been searching for the locket for years. Your mother hid it well, but I knew you'd lead me to it eventually." Ellie clutched the locket tightly. "Why do you want it? What's so special about it?" Victor smiled, a chilling, predatory smile. "The locket is a key to a power beyond your imagination. With it, I can control the very fabric of reality. And now, thanks to you, it's mine." Ellie felt a surge of anger. "You framed my mother, didn't you? You made her disappear so you could take the locket for yourself." Victor's smile widened. "Smart girl. But it's too late. Hand it over, and I might let you live." The revelation. Ellie knew she couldn't let Victor have the locket. She backed away, her mind racing. As she did, she felt the locket grow warm in her hand. Suddenly, a voice echoed in her mind, a voice that was both familiar and strange. "Ellie, my daughter. You must not let him have it." It was her mother's voice. Ellie's eyes filled with tears as she realized the truth. Her mother had hidden the locket to protect it, and her. The locket had chosen Ellie as its guardian, and now it was up to her to stop Victor. With a surge of determination, Ellie raised the locket high. The gem at its center began to glow, casting a brilliant red light that filled the clearing. Victor shielded his eyes, his expression one of shock and fear. "No!" he shouted. "You don't understand what you're doing." But Ellie did. She focused all her energy on the locket, and with a final blinding flash, Victor was gone. The clearing was silent, the only sound the rustling of leaves in the wind. The aftermath. Ellie returned to town, the locket safely tucked away. She knew that her life would never be the same, but she also knew that she had done the right thing. The locket was safe, and her mother's legacy had been honored. As she stood in the library, surrounded by the books she loved, Ellie felt a sense of peace. The whispers in the envelope had led her to the truth, and in doing so, they had set her free.